Alright guys, I'm going to be going over the first game here in this video for some macro, back timings, thought process, everything along those lines. So this is the first part we're going to go over, and this is just basically communication. So you can see mid laner here has no mana, and their mid just went back, and our jungler is in the area. We should be calling for him to come help shove mid so we can go back safely so he's not going to be able to get any damage onto the turret, because at this rate she's either going to get stuck here in the lane without mana, or um, basically the wave isn't going to crash and Jace won't lose any experience or anything along those lines. So anything like this, mid laners should be calling for it. Jungle, you can notice it as well. Um, and you gotta work together so we can just keep small advantages or at least stay even. Sorry about that. I muted them now. So instead, we're just going roaming down for a gank bottom, which is fine. But these guys, another thing to note as well, just because of the lane that we're playing versus a teleport Ezreal, we should know as an AD carry Indigo what basically around the time that he'll go back to buy his tier since he's running this, so we can communicate stuff like this as well, so we don't waste time basically here with them trying to gank. There was no wards, so they didn't see them. This is just purely he has enough gold to go back and get his tier and then TP in. So we could call that out, but we could also note that in our heads as well, and then we could be trying to shove a little harder so we can go back as well and force their TP out and have our first buy, because I'm pretty sure you can buy BF sword already. So those are just two small things in the first part that we could be communicating better with the team, just to keep us at least on an even standpoint, because now he got the first buy. I know it's not a lane advantage item where he doesn't gain damage from it, but he's back in lane a lot more and he's stacking up his tier, and then we're just having to stay in lane for a lot longer. Um, Logic is wasting some time now. Toxic gets stuck mid lane because of this as well. Like there's just three things here that are just tiny, but they actually add up a ton. So, and we should also know that he's up here doing the crab by now, because we haven't seen him basically on any part of the map, and we have full vision control on this side already, so we should know that he's on this side. So we should have done those three things basically is the first part. Next thing we're going to talk about is actually the second buffs are coming up. So let's go here. And in this game, we know that we both started on the red buff. So when these are coming up, the first thing the jungler should be doing is looking to see where we have actual priority. So right now, our priority is our bottom lane because of the buys. We literally just bought BF sword and they have tier. So we could be setting up. This is literally the whole communication for this right now is bottom lane should be announcing we have a huge advantage bottom lane right now. We should try to set up something. And at the same time, as a jungler, if we have priority bottom big time like this, mid is even at this time as well, except for Jace has bought an item because of uh, the play that we did not do earlier, like I was mentioning about helping out with shoving the wave so she can go, or Oriana can go back and buy, Toxic can go back and buy. So if we would have done that ahead of time, Ori would have her item, it'd be even mid lane. We'd have a huge advantage bottom lane. So we could go force a fight in their jungle, take their blue buff, or get the Infernal at this point because we have such a big advantage. And if you look where we're at right now on the screen too, we literally have a huge advantage top lane right now as well, because uh, Dad hit 6 first, and Rise has hardly any mana. So this should all be in the works, because we're going to be shoving this into turret top and forcing the TP out of Rise. We already should know that this is happening. Dad should be communicating this to us right now. I'm shoving this wave to Rise his turret basically. He's gonna clear it, and then he's gonna go base and teleport back top lane. So you should be shoving this last minion and then going back to buy so you can run bottom for Inferno or the blue invade, dive, a TP dive bottom, anything. Because we have such the advantage. We know he's going to come back and TP to lane. And you can go back and just make it look like you're buying because you know he's going to do the same thing. And you get the TP out of him no matter what because these minions are going to keep crashing on him basically. And he has no mana. He has to go back. So these are tons of tiny things. So second buffs are coming up. Junglers' priority should be where do we have priority in our lanes right now? Because say we're losing in all of our lanes, then we're gonna want to try to do our buff. First of all, as you can see that they have priority mid right now, so they got to ward our entire topside jungle because they're setting up for the same thing. So we have to be aware of stuff like this so we can move around the map more safely and also force where we're stronger. The BF first tier right now is insane. Like we should be forcing on their side all day. Top lane is going to have the advantage. He's level advantage right now. Rise has to back because of no mana, and he's going to TP top as well. So this is where we literally should be making big plays. It's only 6 minutes into the game. We could literally start winning the game right now in a huge fashion. We could get a big fight and Infernal to start the game. Instead, they end up getting Infernal because of back timings that I was talking about earlier as well. After we actually get a 2 versus 2 kill, I believe, bottom, and then we stay in the lane a little long, and then they know where Camille is because of a pink ward that sits up in this river pixel. So they have sKz on the bottom side because he knows his bottom lane is already recalled, and or one of them recalled, one of them is respawning, and they're just running down here because he knows that our lane stayed too long basically, and they have to go back. So these are the types of things you guys can set up stuff in so much further ahead than we do, but this is just a communication issue that we have, um, and we just need to be able to call this stuff out a lot sooner. So you guys thin this wave out. I believe you push this back to the middle, and then you guys get a 2 versus 2 kill once we hit 6, if I'm not mistaken. It's right around here. Oh, this is so what I was just, never mind, 31 minutes. What this is right now is exactly what I was talking about. This is where we start forcing at our own blue buff because they have all the priority in the world from the middle standpoint. Because he's just hard shoving us all the time. They had vision of our entire jungle, everything along those lines. So this is where this blue buff should be theirs, but we should have been already making a play bottom basically. We should have had a TP play or something set up, or we should just be invading their bottom side jungle because we should be afraid of this trio right now compared to our trio. Because our strength right now as a unit is the bottom lane. We have a little bit more mobility, but we have to we actually probably could win the 3 versus 3 right now, but we should win the 3 versus 3 right now, but they're going to be able to push on us first because of the vision advantage that they had. So this is just things that we need to talk about because we end up getting first blood, and then Jace gets a return kill onto Toxic. But the thing we don't take into consideration is they had already warded this area, and Jace ends up stealing the blue buff as well. So it happens. We do a little fighting and everything. So the fight happens, but see how they have the whole jungle warded already here? We traded 1 for 1. The Logic and Toxic got a kill onto Kha'Zix. Jace got the return kill. But now they still have all the vision in the world on this side. And there's our good 2 versus 2. And this is where I'm talking about where we have a ward in your inventory as well, Mango, at this point. So right there, you guys did a great job getting a 2 versus 2 kill, but immediately we don't know where sKz went to, and you have a ward, and you don't need to be in lane right now. So you should literally go be dropping your ward, even if it's just on top of the dragon. It should be in by that little plant, that the launch plant, where you could actually ward here. It's not up yet, obviously. You could ward there. You could ward in front of dragon. Anything. We should just get the vision here instead of just sitting in the lane. And then we have to start thinking about our back times, because look where our jungler is right now as well. And then top lane is getting shoved in, mid lane's getting shoved in. So they have all now they have temporary priority on the bot side, and we got to be thinking about that stuff. So that's why getting the vision down. So say you just went and warded right now, and then we see sKz right away, then we can start doing different things. But you're going to see Logic goes here, gets spotted by the pink ward, he kills the pink ward, and instead of basically running towards the opposite side of the map to alleviate pressure either mid lane um, or just running to dragon to kind of slow them down so our bot lane can get back, he runs top and hides and basically sits in this bush and then recalls. So we lose out on dragon, and um, when this dragon easily should have been ours when we're the ones with the stronger bot lane. So these are the types of things. I know there's plates and everything, and it's good to get them, but when there's such a priority objective on the map, we need to be thinking a little bit more than a 160 gold plate, because we have to look where our team is and what's going on in the map as well. But this is where we need everyone to talk to bot lane as well. Like we need status updates um, on top if they have TP or not. We can see it now that both of us have TP, which should not be the case how the previous play should have happened differently. We should have forced TP out of him basically. So we could have then backed and then made a play for the Infernal Dragon. Um, yeah, we just got to talk about these little things, because this right here is 160 gold, um, and this is 8% increased damage for the entire team. This is, you shoved at a turret, it's perfect. Go back, at least go back right now, after you should have already warded. So this plate, in the grand scheme of things, because of where our alignment of our team is right now, is not the most important thing. So you should have warded, you should have hard shoved like you did, but then we should have went back just to get all this pressure back on our side, because you guys can literally push them in non-stop now because you have such a big lead. And also, whenever you guys have lane advantage bottom and you're going to be shoving a lot, your pink ward shouldn't be in the tri bush. It should be in this little river bush here. If you're on red side and you're pushing in, you should put your red in their tri bush then. So it's just opposite. If you're advancing, advance your vision. Don't have it trailing behind you where it's not doing anything. All right, next part. 3220. We already went over that. 33. So right now. So yeah, this is where I was talking about. Well, we get the crab, we get spotted here. So this is how smart macro works, knowing where you have priority and everything like that. Anytime that you get information, so say you're the enemy team right now, you know exactly where the jungler is. You know that the bottom lane is now going back. So this is, and we have no idea where sKz is at this point either, because we saw him at our blue buff was the last time, but that was about 2 minutes ago now, a little more than 2 minutes. So we have no idea where sKz is. So this is good communication by them. So Logic's either going to go mid lane or he's going to go top. If he goes either one and fails basically, if he ends up recalling or anything along those lines, like this whole side of the map is theirs now temporarily. So there's a huge priority here. So you'll see exactly what happens, and he's positioning on that side as well as if he's going top. So they're literally like, I'm just going to do dragon now for free. when mid lane at this point is a little bit in their advantage. He has a lot more farm, but he still hasn't bought his second one, so it's not a huge advantage yet. Once he buys for the second time, it will be. Um, but we have a big advantage bottom still. But the fact that they see this, this is exactly the kind of communication you guys should be thinking about all the time. Because they're behind right now. I know it's only 300 gold, but we can stay safe middle, we can stay safe top, and we can dominate bottom, and we can basically go even in the jungle, if not be a little bit ahead. So they're behind right now as a team. So that's why them communicating this and setting this up is exactly the kind of stuff you guys should be looking at. When you get information from the other team, like vision is why we always talk about vision. They got vision of you, you're positioning topside, they knew that this was going to be safe. So that's free objective for them because of the information we gave them, and then our back timings, like I was saying, our lack of complete vision, the vision being trailing instead of ahead, like all these small details is huge. And here's another example of us. So he's going to go back right here. So you stop his back, which is great. Um, but it's also a cannon wave, so he's going to TP back for this again. This is the same scenario as before. Our bottom lane just came back to lane. We literally have all the advantage in the world right now to make a TP play, um, and we don't do it. So what the you stopping his back is perfectly fine because you can hard shove him in, and then the same thing. He's gonna have to be forced back to TP in the lane if we do this properly. So we'll watch. We'll just watch from this perspective for this moment. So obviously it might jump around or something, but we'll just watch him on the map as well. So Dad's doing a good job. He shoves them in basically. It's a cannon wave, and we know that the next wave is going to crash and push him into this because we're just going to have all the pressure in the world from here. We could literally go back right now, um, like hard shove that next one, go back, and then force rise, because again, he has no mana. And we can literally set up a 4-man dive bottom. We do a good job with the lane gank. You guys actually get a kill here, but we'd never use our teleport, like in an offensive manner. So this is, you should be recalling right now, because you know he's going to recall and TP back, basically. So you're recalling. I don't remember if you stop his back. No, it doesn't look like it. We get the kill. And this is something I want to talk about too. There's no way this guy's living. We know he doesn't have flash. Mango gets this kill. There's no reason you should get this kill, Mango. She's dead. It happens way too often. Good ult, but your auto attack is literally what killed her. You don't. Your ult is all we needed there, and it was that all that stuff was good. But just getting this lead and getting his Storm Razor completed earlier is so crucial. So now now we can try to get plates. There's also crab coming up, which crab is very important. So what I would actually prefer is if Mango and Logic ran to river on this after this play, let Indigo shove this wave, get a plate or probably one plate if he can, and you two get crab. And we're just securing vision, keeping middle and bottom as safe as possible. These are just small things. So now we're just chilling in lane. It should be one plate, and then we should be going to get this crab basically as a unit, because we don't want to like have something forced on us for no reason. So again, right there, look just for an example, right here, look at this. He has to TP back to lane. You're going to be able to kill this wave. He has to TP back. We could try to make a TP play mid lane or anything. We could try. Or you could just literally wave clear this, pretend like you backed, and then just roam down middle. Like there's so many things we could be doing with you more because you do such a good job 1 versus 1 all the time. And see, they ended up getting the crab too. This is exactly what I'm talking about. So now we did a great job with the setting up the gank, executing, getting a kill, but then we give them, it's a tiny advantage, but still an advantage. That's vision. We should have complete control of this river at this point because of how strong our bottom lane is. And we just lost the crab. Like, Logic should also be communicating. We don't have, I don't think we had smite. He might have lost the smite fight there. Yeah, he lost smite, but we should literally have Mango with him after we killed what's her face. But again, we're just staying in lane too long, basically. Get the one plate, get out, go get crab as a team, go back. There's no objective on this side. We know where, well, Kha'Zix ended up showing where he was. We actually didn't know where he was. But we need to, like, those small things, man, they add up so much, it's fucking ridiculous. But TP, that's 3 different times we could have used TP offensively, and now look, you switch to Ignite because you know you can kill him 1 versus 1. He just TP'd back to lane as well. If you had TP, we could be setting up something with you and Logic and Toxic for a gank. So this should not happen. Changing to this when you're just in lane. I understand your reasoning because he just used TP so he can't make pressure on the map. But in the bigger picture of things, you need to be making plays with the team when we have the advantage all day. Rise by himself is not going to get a ton of plates. So if he ended up pushing in a turret and getting 2 plates, that's fine because if you could get so much. Jace doesn't have flash. No one has flash except for literally Kha'Zix and Rise. So this is why we need you to talk about your TP a lot more, man. This is crucial. Let's see, the next one's at 40 minutes. And this is where we lose the game basically for this first game. So you can see that the game is really close right now. Like absolutely close. They did a I'm trying to remember how they got they got information basically that they could do Herald and they do Herald because they know they can't team fight us at this point. Because look at you guys are just destroying them. This is exactly where we need your TP too, because you forced him out of lane again. Everything. We should be diving these guys all day. There should be 4-man dives happening all day. These guys shouldn't. They should be 2 levels down on our 80 carry. Like, and we should be destroying this game. So basically, just put it from their perspective now. And this is just smart communication. They have priority middle. Their mid laner is the strongest player in the whole game right now. And we still can beat them 1 versus 1 top, but Ryze is strong enough that he can 2 versus 2. And then they win the 3 versus 3 at this point, probably because of Jace. But they know that we have priority on the dragon, so they're just automatically communicating ahead of time that, hey, keep your guys in lane basically. I'm going to go do the Rift Herald while we know they're going to go do Dragon now. So this is the kind of stuff. And this also is, you shove this. This is a perfect time for you to go ward as well. You don't need a blue trinket this early. Like, it's better for you to have yellow for now. And when the game starts, like if we start falling behind, then blue trinket's fine. But at this stage of the game, you should still have your yellow. If anyone should have a different one, it should be Logic with Sweeper, because we need to control their vision a lot earlier. This is something I said in the last video too, is like between the 12 to 15 minute mark, we need a Sweeper on the jungler, because that's when we should start taking over the vision control, not just pink wards. Like, we just need to start taking it over. Look, 4 pink wards in our inventory right now. We have complete control of the bottom side of the river and the pixel brush.
we should literally control this whole bottom jungle as a team because of how strong. We should literally just live in their bottom side jungle on the bottom lane at this point. They're going to get Herald, and that's fine. We're going to trade, but we literally can get so much at this stage in the game. They have pretty good wave clear from Jace, but if we have literally Toxic just holds Jace in lane and we three-man shove this, there's nothing they can do because Kha'Zix can't wave clear. I don't think he has his evolved W yet. He gets that at level 9. So these are just small things again. We should be dominating this part of the game, like hands down. We get second turret because they had first turret in mid, and then we do. This is something here as well. We know where Ryze is, I'm pretty sure, and we know Jace went back. So I actually think you guys can shove one more wave here. Actually, I think you do. What am I talking about? And then I was gonna say, and then do dragon. Like they could, they could duo the dragon together while you guys go get vision too in the jungle, because you have a yellow and he is a pink. Excuse me. Or you have a yellow and a pink, so you guys could have went and got some more vision. Like, cause this blue buff should be our blue buff, hands down. Like, why are we not going into their? We should not be afraid to go into their jungle right here. I know we don't want Jace to hard shove, but your three man, like I was just saying, just shits all over their three man. You're perfectly fine. And this is a huge strength of the team too. Daddy can soak up so much attention, and he rarely dies to this. This is where we need to make plays middle and bottom, especially when we're really strong in one of the lanes. We need to make more plays. Um, yeah, so this is where we lose the game, though. I'm sorry, I went on a little bit tangent there. So we know they just killed Herald. It's a global announcement. So we know what side of the map. It's the same thing that we just talked about um, earlier in the game. About how they could contest our second blue buff, but we could also contest their second blue buff because of where the priorities were in the game. So they just get Herald, and we know that they are crazy strong mid lane compared to us. Look, he has 2 lethality items already. Their mid laner or their top laner is perfectly fine, and Kha'Zix still does a crazy amount of damage because he's Kha'Zix. So we know exactly what side of the map they're on right now. We have no vision of them, but then we try to force stuff. So this is exactly the kind of stuff where we can do exactly what they did in reverse with trading because we don't want to force at their strongest player right now when we can just keep forcing at our strongest player. So this whole bottom jungle should be ours. We should have cleared a bottom jungle, got blue buff, shoved shoved them back to turret, and then we could have recalled while Toxic was holding the mid lane. And knowing that um, they just finished Herald and they're probably taking our blue jungle. That's perfectly fine. We traded Dragon, we got to kill all that shit. We got to trade smarter. This is where we force and we end up losing the game basically because we face check this um, without having vision basically, and they get 2 kills off of it and a summoner. Because here, they just waiting. So this is the kind of stuff I was talking about earlier, and it just showed in this scenario exactly why we don't need to force on a side that we don't have priority, because this is what coordination right here does. So Daddy can soak up all the pressure in the world. Toxic can hold the mid lane back here still. Just let him take this side, and we should have took this entire side. And then let's see, 41 minutes. This is something on you, Dad. Here, just you're doing a good job the whole game for your one versus ones, but you have to realize when you're one versus one now versus the strongest player in the whole game, and you die to him really easily. This turret's about to fall anyway. By the time you get down to the bottom lane, you'll see in a second. You're walking up there right now. But instead of just letting it fall and then getting the farm, you try to basically force holding on to everything, and this is where our communication sucks too. He has ignite and everything, and it's not communicated. Like, we just have to. There's so many details you guys have to communicate about. I talk about this all the time, but this is where you try to save this, and you end up dying. As soon as you walk forward, he's just like, I'm gonna kill you because of his items. That's what I'm talking about. He's the strongest player in the game. He has 2 lethality items. You only have tabbies, or you don't even have tabbies yet. We just have to think about that stuff. Let the turret fall down. Take the farm after. And then the last thing I had marked for this game was you guys make a good decision in my opinion here. You know that you're weaker overall right now because of how strong the Jace is, and Kha'Zix is pretty strong as well. So you decide to go for a pick on the rise and you get it, but then afterwards we fall apart, basically being way too overconfident. And the main reason why this is bad is we use 2 summoners as well, and we're killing someone who he's still scaling. Okay, so he's not going to be strong in the early parts of the game. The entire rest of their team is who's the strong ones this part of the game. Azrael's 2 items. Jace has 2.5 for 2.5 items. Kha'Zix has 2 items. Like, these are the things. So now our thought process should be somebody go. We can have 2 of us rotate back to middle, not through the river because we don't have a turret here, to hold the mid lane while these other 3 shove. And if they end up not showing up on the map, then these 3 can just back off, and then middle can shove and get priority back on mid lane, and maybe even get enough damage to take the turret down. Depends on how they react as a 4-man group. But the one thing we shouldn't be doing, especially because we just used 2 of our alts, is walk basically right at them in the river. This is the strongest player in the game right here still. Right here. So we did what we shouldn't have done right here. And then we get chunked. And instead of just retreating, we engage basically. So then we lose, I think, 2 more kills and summoners. So there's an engaged auto death. And then it's just a shit show. I know you get sniped by the Jace. Yeah, we lose 3 people here because of this. So this is just, again, like, we got to kill. You did a good job here. You guys are crazy strong still, like, in a standpoint of, like, you could have pushed this bottom perfectly fine. We even had TP on Urgot if we wanted to TP back mid to make sure they didn't get it. But we could have made a play where it was so much more profitable than just running middle. Um, yeah, that that was just like our thought process was let's run mid because there's tier 1 mid, which obviously we always want to get. But again, no communication about summoners, any of that shit. We should have literally just kept pushing up this side lane, um, and probably sent 1 person back, and we had T. And so no matter what, we have 4 people in this lane, so it's 4 versus 4 at the worst. And so we could have sent Urgot back middle, which probably would have been ideal because he could have TP'd back to the team if we needed him to. That's probably what the ideal communication would have been. So I have TP. You guys push bottom. I'm going to go cover mid. I can TP to you if you get in a fight. Just anything but running at them when we just used all of our stuff. And then also engaging on them afterwards. So this game, in my opinion, we should have won this game hands down. We should have really pressed our advantage in the bottom lane. We should have used our TP aggressively, like 2 or 3 different times. We should have known where we didn't have priority, and then also knew where we did have priority so we could take over that part of the jungle instead of forcing in where we were weaker. Just stuff like that. We have to start thinking ahead of time. Every time you guys are basing or anything like that. You should literally be thinking, what is the next 2 minutes going to hold? What can we do as a unit? So that's when it's whoever's shot calling. If you're recalling, you should be like, what summoners do you have top? What lanes don't have flashes? That kind of shit. So then we can start making plays happen. You guys you're not bad players at all. You're good players. It's just we're still new to the team aspect together, and I don't know how much experience all of us have on the team. This is the kind of stuff we have to talk about so we can start moving throughout the map a lot more efficiently. Even if it means, like I was saying, trading our side of the jungle for theirs, because we know we won't die on their side of the jungle. We could die on ours. Just stuff like that. You guys just gotta think about what we can do in the next 2 minutes, basically, and then start planning stuff and setting it up. Helping each other if someone's stuck in a lane because they don't have mana or anything like that, or it's a bad matchup. Call for the jungler to come hard shove with you so you can go back and come back to lane safely, and we don't lose too much plating or the turret. So you just got to do like so many little things. Your just communication has to grow a lot. Talk to me about this game.